I've never been like the person to lie and tell stories and to, you know, try and get over. I was not like that. But my addiction has definitely made me that way. Makes me feel alone.
Opioid. Say that one more time.
Opioid.
What are opioids?
In 2017, we had just under 72,000 Americans die of drug overdoses.
Jay, look at me.
That's a phenomenal number. It's almost hard to imagine.
You taking drugs or anything? I have no idea. He went into the bathroom.
Opioids are a substance that act on opioid receptors to produce morphine-like effects. Medically, they are primarily used for pain relief, including anesthesia. There's the code. So that's it. So keep that in mind, right? Because this is going to be coming to a town near you.
Opioid.
Manchester Fire Emergency.
Request for an ambulance in Manchester. It's the Shell gas station. The patient is in the bathroom. He is overdosed.
It's going to be for a female in her 20s. My caller states he went in to clean, found her overdosing in the bathtub. She is not conscious.
The caller states that she is overdosed. The patient's going to be just outside the church on the side.
Where are the people located?
So they're in the middle of the street. Two people are overdosing.
For a male in his 50s, found not conscious, not breathing. There's a needle next to him.
35-year-old male. He is not conscious, not breathing, overdose.
I don't know what to do. Stop talking for a moment.
Very hard to get past this addiction, but was unable to, and died from it.
It is the #1 public health challenge of our time.
Opioids are now the biggest drug epidemic in American history.
The number of deaths from opioid abuse have skyrocketed over the past 15 years,
killing tens of thousands of Americans every year.
That's more deaths than from car accidents and from guns.
Emergency services overwhelmed. Another family burying a loved one.
She overdosed in her car while her 2-year-old daughter was in the back seat.
Pronounced?
Fentanyl.
But most people say fentanyl. So let's have a look at it. Boom, fentanyl. Fentanyl, also spelled fentanyl, is an opioid used as a pain medication and together with other medications for anesthesia. Fentanyl is also used as a recreational drug, often mixed with heroin or cocaine, and has a rapid onset, and the effects generally last for less than 2 hours, right? That's what it does, right? But when you take this stuff, it can kill you stone dead.
In certain age groups between 25 and 34 in the United States, 20% of all deaths are due to opioid overdoses.
Right, stone dead. It's 50 times more powerful than heroin. And now there's a new one coming out as well. It's some other new shit. Again, these are all made in labs. You've got to understand these, right? These were first made. These are medications. And now someone else is making them and banging them out, right? And killing people in their fucking thousands. And it's going to be coming to a town near you. And that's without a doubt, right? So keep an eye out for it and know what it is. And look at this video and you'll see the crack with this. This will fuck you up. As your man calls it, it's the apocalypse, right? It's the horse from the apocalypse. The horse of death.
Fentanyl is taking the opioid epidemic to a new level of urgency.
Fentanyl, a drug more powerful than heroin.
It's 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine.
Fentanyl, so potent you could die with the syringe still in your arm.
Fentanyl.
Right, fentanyl. Right, and I want you to keep in mind, right, there's a big debate going on here in Ireland at the minute, right? They want to open another drug rehabilitation centre, right, up in Dublin, around there anyway. Another facility they want to open up to let junkies go in and inject the likes of
fentanyl
into themselves, okay? That's what they want to do here in Ireland. And there's the big debates about, you know, people say, no, we want it in around our area, junkies all over the place, you know, because they are like the living dead. I mean, I do feel sorry for them because a lot of them junkies hate this existence that they're living, but they can't get out. Because these drugs trap you. They trap you. They're like Satan's fucking claws. You're trapped. Anyway, so keep that in mind, right?
Fentanyl.
Coming to a town near you.
So potent, so incredibly potent that it only takes a few milligrams to cause a death. And now we see fentanyl lacing not only the heroin supply, but we see it in cocaine and methamphetamine and all sorts of drugs because it's dirt cheap. If heroin's the devil, to continue with the biblical analogy, I would say that fentanyl is a horseman of the apocalypse, and it's the one named death, because it just brings death.
So right, so as I said, 50 times more powerful, 100 times more powerful some of this stuff is than heroin, and they're mixing it in with heroin then and cocaine, so people will be taking cocaine and they'll be getting addicted to fentanyl. Right, and the cocaine is just all over the place, right? It's everywhere and it's anywhere. And same with heroin and all them drugs, they're everywhere and anywhere. And there they are then cribbing about a bit of herb, about a bit of weed. Huh? Anyway, fentanyl.
Kensington is Philadelphia's ground zero for opioids. And it has just been declared a disaster zone. Dan's family has also battled with addiction. He now fights on behalf of those still struggling.
I mean, this becomes what the neighborhood is. I mean, you see, most people around here you're going to see are high. You know, so the neighborhood is almost entirely consistent of people who are abusing. You can't walk through this neighborhood without being offered drugs. It's hard to even recognize some of these people. It just seems like they're in a jungle, and they've lost a lot of their humanity down here. Heroin's been in Philadelphia for decades. This is not a new story. It's just that recently the death toll has gotten so out of hand, and the farther you look, the more you realize how truly desperate things have become. I believe in 2016 we had 272 homicides and over 900 overdose deaths. Last year we had around 300 homicides and 1,200 overdoses. So it went from being 3 times the murder rate to 4 times the murder rate in 1 year. What some people don't realize is that a lot of these people who are using drugs on a regular basis aren't necessarily using it to get high. They're using it to maintain their addiction, to make their headache go away, to sort of regulate. Any amount of fentanyl would kill most people who aren't addicted almost instantly. If it continues to get worse, like, where does it go from here?
I am a heroin user. I've been using heroin for about 20 years.
Alex is just one of the 70,000 active heroin users currently living in Philadelphia.
This ain't no life for nobody. I mean, this is like the bottom of the barrel right here. This ain't for nobody. I don't wish this on my worst enemy.
In need of a place to sleep, Alex heads to an abandoned house that he and other addicts sometimes use to crash.
It makes me do things that I normally wouldn't do. Lie, manipulate.
We went from 20 overdoses to 80 overdoses in a matter of a month, and we're like, what the hell happened here?
Well, one on thing.
Why did it hit us? Because of synthetic heroin. It was fentanyl. We don't have a heroin problem, we have a fentanyl problem.
I generally have to score about 6 times a day to keep myself well, just to be able to function, really. That's all it comes down to, is just to be able to function. I hope that it's fentanyl because I've been doing it for quite some time, and heroin that's actually heroin will not get me well. My body actually craves the fentanyl. It's a different high, it's a different feeling, and I'm not really sure what the difference is between the heroin and the fentanyl. I don't know.
And it's changed the game. It's cheap, it's easy to manufacture. For these cartels, they don't have to worry about opium anymore. They don't have to worry about the plant, sun, water, how they're gonna grow these growing cycles. They don't worry about any of that. They can mass produce this stuff in the same labs that they have set up, that they've used, you know, when they were making methamphetamine or any other drug. And they're able to manufacture it faster and cheaper.
Working with local law enforcement, the DEA has identified dealers operating from a park.
He's getting to the blue BMW. He picked up, he's looking around. All right,
Two-door blue BMW is leaving.
So you can see how this works. We're set up in the park. We're sort of at a position where we can see what's happening. We see customers coming in.
And he's coming to the park, New Hampshire plates.
They're getting served. They're getting back in the car.
Then New Hampshire plates from the other guys.
Our guys are calling it out to the surveillance units. Surveillance units are taking them away to a place where, whether it's in New Hampshire or Massachusetts, we can safely make these traffic stops.
Straight ahead right there. Okay, brother, we have another New Hampshire customer, guys. Another New Hampshire customer arriving. Hey, Betty guys. Anybody available? A vehicle possibly going on 95. Still laying right here. What do you think, homie?
We're up here in New Hampshire now. We just stopped a car that we saw pick up from that same park. And this woman, too, had the stuff stuffed inside of her body cavity. She's pulling it out for the troopers. Here's the evidence here that they just removed from this female here on this traffic stop. Again, fentanyl driving up into New Hampshire to pollute our communities. The cartels will never change what they're doing. They have found an avenue now with fentanyl where they can make so much money. The other thing is we're seeing, and this really frightens me, is the dealers are now mixing fentanyl with everything. We're seeing an increase of fentanyl mixed with cocaine, fentanyl mixed with methamphetamine. And if you think about it, it doesn't even make sense because really they do opposite things in the body and in the brain. But to the dealer, they almost look at this fentanyl now as a magic dust that's just a moneymaker. They think if I just put a little bit of this in there, I'll be able to spread that product further and make more money. So they're trying to figure out how to get that recipe to the right point where they can still addict everybody, but have them come back as much as they can. And that's really what's happened here. They've killed more people than war has.
I like the person I am today. I used to hate myself.
When we met Stephen, I didn't know him previously. He didn't want to hear anything about recovery. He didn't want nothing to do with the conversation, even though he was kind and sweet and respectful. I knew he just wanted to get up and go get high that day. He had it written all over his face.
I've seen it. I've seen that scene, and it disgusts me how I looked. Couldn't even keep my eyes open. I couldn't form a sentence, slurring, and I believe I was very close to overdosing that day.
It runs my life. I don't need it, but I feel like I do.
Never get enough of it. And it's just it kind of just fed itself. It just took everything from me. I really like it here. It's really nice. I feel better than I've ever felt. I don't remember a time where I felt this good about myself. 2 years ago, I couldn't even dream that I could be here doing what I'm doing and as happy as I am.
If there's one individual, Stephen, who I know that we had a hand in saving his life, it's worth it. Nobody's life's better than someone else. We all deserve a chance at success and to live. Some of us have lost our way.
It's not a poor people thing anymore. It's not a inner city ghetto drug anymore. It's everywhere, and it's killing people left and right every single day. Something's got to be done. It's gotta change. What's it gonna take? You know what I mean? Someone in a seat of power like that losing their child to it before they open their eyes to it. Like something's got to give now, or there's gonna eventually be no coming back from it. I just hope we haven't reached that point already.
But it's what my body craves, and without it, I'll be just as sick as I am now. I feel like it's a waste of my life. I mean, I got a lot of people in my corner who care about me, a lot of people in my, in my family that love and care about me and want to see me do well. And I'm not doing nothing except sticking a needle in my arm every day, all day long. Waste. Waste of time, waste of energy, waste of money. It's a fucking waste of everything. It's the waste. I've never been like the person to lie and tell stories and to, try and get over. I was not like that. But my addiction has definitely made me that way. It makes me feel alone. It makes me feel vulnerable. Makes me feel scared. It makes me feel unsure of what my purpose here is.
Oh, say can you see?
Get him on the ground. Get him on the ground. Sir.
It is the #1 public health challenge of our time.
Sir.